I don't think so at all. Yeah, it's been completely banned out from a lot of people.
It's just been this huge power pick that nobody really wants to deal with, and I think that's...
Another power pick that will be banned out.
Well, I mean, it's pretty much been target banned against Kiwi123 at this point. You don't really want to give him this Yasuo at all.
Right now, Kiwi123 has been such a monster on this pick. You have to always give a lot of attention if you are not willing to counter him, and this is one of the big things that Kiwi123 is bringing to the table.
Not just that, right? You have to respect the fact that he's such a potent top laner, right? MVP for the previous Campus Legends, previous game on the Aatrox. Sure, he wasn't standout, you know, magnificent, killing everyone, but he was there. He's a stable force. You have to respect the guy.
And yeah, respect the guy. He takes off. The NYP decided to ban away the Aatrox from Kiwi123. We've seen that is one of his best performing champions, and I think it's wise for them to take it off the board.
Kreis, hovering the pike. Remember, he got that pentakill in the group stages. Oh, not groups, rather. It was the group stages,
It was group stages, yeah. But maybe not.
Zyra Khan, once more, as the reply towards Yuumi might not be too bad. If they do lock in Zyra Khan here, though, it doesn't give anything away about their composition. But they do fail to secure a high prio jungler. Something like a Jarvan or Sylas will be completely ignored this time.
Well, there's still always the third pick. The bans have not come up yet. Getting the Zyra Khan in this case, it's quite potent because we've seen what it has done last game. The amount of engages you have brought in. Even if Sylas have stolen it, it's still just that much of a powerful engage tool that they can use.
Talking about high engaged junglers though, I think Krex right now might actually default back to his trusty Jarvan because we have seen it in the group stage and it has done very well for him.
There you go, Jarvan locked in, and like you said, you know, the fact that this is such a comfort pick means that they want to get it early in the rotation before the second ban phase. But the response from Shinsekai is going to be the Gragas instead of what I think most players would feel is a decent counter pick, the Skarner.
We've actually seen Krex here play Jarvan into the Gragas before.
I think yesterday against Ice Destiny.
Yeah, and I think Ice Destiny went 0-4 in that game.
He had the game with the weird pathing, and then, you know, he ended up not doing too well in that Gragas. But this time, I think this is a matchup that Krex is super comfortable with, so honestly, no issues coming in.
Right, at this point, I think I really like Krex's Jarvan because he does take the early damage that he brings and brings it to the lanes through many, many ganks. They do ban away the Poppy though, which is one thing that could stop this Jarvan, so I think Krex is going to be very comfortable.
I think not just that, but it does signal to me that there's a champion here that they're afraid of, which Poppy deals with too really well. One example being like Camille, right? You can play Camille top lane, and Poppy hard denies that champion, so maybe this is an indication of what TP wants to play, as they look to pinch out the possible counter picks coming in. The Nico is going to be the response here, and the Akali against Raven. Don't want to deal with the Assassin. I think it was pretty powerful in the hands of Raven the previous game. Did manage to convert a couple of times, but the rest of the map wasn't to his advantage, so he wasn't able to contribute much.
Hovering the Shaco though, not sure if this is actually a troll hover, or maybe he wants to try some kind of Shaco top.
No, I think it's going to be a troll hover right now. Yep, they're looking for the possible quirky mid or top. Remember that this is a flex pick that we've seen other regions pull out. And in this case, having the ability to last pick your mid or top right now gives you a very advantageous matchup.
This Corki does bring quite a bit to the table. It brings the magic damage component it can. So that means Gragas can go full tank. You can have a strong front to back team comp like what TP had in the Game 1. In fact, it's very similar to what TP had in Game 1.
Okay, that's going to be Morgana locked in, so it might just be a mid lane Morgana and a top lane question mark here. Like I said, Camille's still an option. Kiwi has been known to play that champion, and the Poppy ban would then make sense if they were opting for that. I want to add on to your point about the magic damage, because I think NYP right now, they do have a good mix, but they're really lacking a true frontline, because Gragas players often opt for the AP build, right? So I think right now, if you're looking for a top laner, or mid laner, you want someone that's a bit more sturdy.
Definitely, you need someone sturdy if you're going to go against a Renekton, or else he's just going to bully you right out of your lane.
Renekton is a pretty strong lane bully, like you mentioned, but he functions... Oh, okay, he's going to lock in his graves, for sure. And I'll explain it the moment it's locked in. I've actually seen this yesterday, so I'm down with the counter picks that NYP have.
Alright.
So he's going to lock in the graves, it's going to be a top lane graves, and I was actually talking to Alex Shinsekai about this, right? And they played this against IT College West in their second game, and they won that. And I was behind them when they were drafting. And I was like, why did they just lock in Graves? According to Kralix, who is the top laner, he said that Graves is a secret counter pick towards Renekton in the top lane.
Is that?
Yeah, he feels like it's a counter pick, and they did win that game. And I think the mechanics of that is just that you have a lot more push potential, and the range advantage helps a lot more in that sense. If you ask me honestly, I don't see this going the way of Graves, but I think Kralix knows some secret tech that we don't.
It could be the true grid from Graves' passive that gives quite a bit of armor that it's supposed to help him out in the jungle, but it can apply here towards the Renekton as well.
The thing is, though, they're still lacking that form of a true tank when we're talking about NYP doesn't really have a front line, so you're talking about fighting front to back. You can't do this with this composition, right? You kind of have to look for picks and maybe isolate targets with Rakan and Graves to burst someone down. For the opposite side, what do you think, TP? How do they look with this composition?
Well, if you're on TP, you have the Renekton, you have the Jarvan. Obviously, what you want to do, you want to jump on the enemy team. You also have the Morgana, Ezreal, Yuumi to put out that consistent backline damage with a lot of protection for the Ezreal, who can actually ramp up into quite the mid-game monster if given the opportunity.
And this is a more traditional front-to-back composition that we're talking about, right? You know, you have people in the, you have heavy bodies that can soak damage in the front line, and then CC tools that enable your backline to be free as well, referring specifically to the Cataclysm. I want to point out that Ezreal Yuumi is quite a tricky lane in itself because it's almost an auto-lose lane. You kind of have to be careful about how you position, right? You don't have much of a lane priority when it comes to Ezreal Yuumi, especially against Xayah Rakan. You have to be so careful. So I think the question now is whether Krex, the jungler, the money maker for TP, is going to be focusing top lane or bot lane. Is he going to cover up the weakness, or is he going to snowball the Renekton?
It's almost guaranteed that he's going to go top. So NYP can use this information to see how they're going to play the map. Because even though Xayah Rakan is almost guaranteed going to push into Ezreal Yuumi, there's not much Ezreal Yuumi brings to the table until they hit 6. So before 6, they are unable to set up a proper gang even if the enemy team is just pushing in all the way.
Right, and in the mid lane, I think Morgana as well. You kind of have to pray for a super lucky Dark Binding to connect on any ganks, but even then as well, Corki has the ability to Valkyrie away. So I think that's sort of a dead lane if you're trying to focus that down. Maybe all eyes on top lane as they try to get Kiwi 1-3 ahead again once more. So this is something like a broken record, but this guy has been the MVP of the previous Campus Legends, and right now he's looking to drag his team over the finishing line as they are 1-up against NYP.
We did talk about the bot lane. I want to draw attention back to that lane again because here's the thing. We've seen Ezreal rise in popularity worldwide over the past few patches, but one thing that we have to take note is that he doesn't really do well here. We've seen him a few times over the course of this competition, and most of these times we've seen him fall off, and we've seen him get ganked and killed repeatedly in his lane,
Right.
even though he is supposed to be a safe laner.
Yeah, I think Ezreal is not really a Southeast or rather SGMY champion, right? You don't see a lot of people pick that up in particular because, like you said, easy to dive, but also takes a while to scale. You really have to get the item timings right, and against Xayah Rakan, who will opt for a very smooth transition with the Essence Reaver into the Rapid Fire Cannon to IE. I think she beats you at all points of itemization.
So right now, the question that I have is if you're this Ezreal, do you really want to force your Yuumi to stay with you in this lane that you are ultimately probably going to lose? I think one thing that they can do is send Yuumi to roam to mid lane or, you know, maybe accompany Jarvan on one of his ganks and look for some damage that way.
Yeah, maybe the roaming Yuumi could be an option for TP, but a bit eccentric. I've never seen the Yuumi roam across the map all too much. She's always stuck with an AD carry, so might be a interesting take on the champion right now. We can see loading to game should be in our match point match very soon.
I'd like to elaborate on that point a little though, because we have seen actually Yuumi join Eve on her escapade.
Right,
And I
yes.
think that's something that they can mirror with this Jarvan 4. Jarvan wants to go for a gank, maybe Yuumi can provide a bit more damage and healing and support him.
I feel like that's a unique situation though, because the Evelyn Yuumi is like this interaction where your prowling projectile becomes invisible and so forth. That being said, yeah, she can have the opportunity to roam around the map if she needs to. She'll be jumping the game relatively soon, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, it is match point for TP NYP. If they drop this, they are done. The victors will be TP for the second year running, I believe. And NYP, their dreams of challenging the champions fall here.
I mean, I'm absolutely hyped.
I can't tell.
This is my hype face.
Yeah, as a boy from TP, I wouldn't be surprised that you are, you know, hyped for your fellow schoolmates, as it were. All right, on the Rift right now, it looks like a very defensive start. As you can see, it's going to be NYP on all entrances and exits of the map. Meanwhile, Temasek Polytechnic doing pretty much the same.
I don't think we'll see too much of a level 1 invade here just because of the tools that both teams have. They don't really have enough of it to just catch out one person and take him down, or you don't have a superior team fight 5v5 at level 1. So it's more of just gaining vision, tracking the opponent jungler, finding his halving.
The only tool I think either team has is the Dark Binding from the Morgana and possibly the Grand Entrance, but even then, you know, leveling that up early on is a deficit to your lane. You can't push the wave with a Dark Binding or Grand Entrance.
Yeah, I mean, this is the pattern that we do see a lot, though, coming into the semis and then these finals. I think most of these teams aren't actually willing to go for those high-risk early game invades.
Right.
Because the stakes are so high.
They prefer the low-risk informational plays as compared to the all-ins or the cheese early on. You see, Kralix has already dropped a ward on the blue buff here, so he's going to get advanced information when Krex roams up. Remember, this is, in his words, a counter pick towards the Renekton, so we have to see if he comes out ahead in lane, as he predicts.
Yeah, well, definitely a very interesting matchup. We'll just have to see, but I think Krex might actually play a very huge role in this. We have seen that he loves to gank the top lane, and I don't think that's going to be very different right now. Kralix definitely needs to snowball to get the damage profile that Graves usually has in a game, and Krex, I think, should know this.
Push coming in from the bot lane, Scarlet Petal and Christ doing a good deal of work. You know, focus on the top side. Grasp of the Undying Graves means that he's going to be tank here and proccing that routinely as he trades out against the Renekton. But remember, level 2 is when most Renekton players will look to go for the heavy all-in trade.
This matchup is significantly different from what you usually see because Renekton here, he can't just charge into Graves. Graves is a range champion, as well as he's being that amount of free armor coming in from his passive, as mentioned before. Makes him such a big threat that you can't just walk in, trade, and run out like what you usually do against most other laners. And
Grand Entrance in, barely misses there on the entrance as you have to back off a bit. Christ here taking a good amount of damage. The moment that all-in kind of fails, you should have to back off, but Christ getting poked out a little. I want to go back to your point about the top lane, the Graves into Renekton, because I completely agree with you. Normally, Renekton is the aggressor in this matchup, but this time he has to be very respectful of the damage, especially the resistances coming in from the Graves as well. You see Grasp of the Undying being procced consistently in the top side. Meanwhile, Gleaming Quill is going to keep the bot laners healthy from NYP.
you see Shinsekai actually having so much lane priority from top that he's able to just walk in like this, getting some vision in, seeing if he can track the opponent, the Javern, and then get a bit more knowledge across the map.
Taking stock of the situation, it's pretty standard opening here from both teams. There's really nothing much that we expect.
Yeah, well, game 2 is usually the lull in which we don't see either team really willing to take those risks. Of course, TP is okay playing safe, and NYP don't want to give TP that lead.
Especially when you're a match point like you mentioned on game 2. You do want to hit your own item timings and play your own game, as it were. Shinsekai going to claim the bot Scuttle Crab and the top one as well, so a heavy advantage being picked up by the jungler of NYP. Meanwhile, this Morgana getting shoved in as is expected against the Corki. Auto attacks actually do a good deal of damage towards the wave as compared to Tormented Soil. And the sustain from Fleet Footwork is pretty good as well.
Krex, though, spotted out at the bottom side, means Kralix is okay with pushing up this lane and forcing Kiwi under the tower.
Yeah, you can see the pings onto the Kruk camp. Like you mentioned, means that Kralix is going to play super aggressive up here. Level 5 to level 5, the Renekton trying to go for the all-in, but like you said, Terrence, you know, dashing away means that it's so difficult to even get on top of the Graves. Kaldamik is going to heal Kiwi up, but Kralix is having the time of his life in this top lane. Running low mana though, has to be careful.
At this point, I think Krex really has to look up at that top lane. We did discuss that he is actually very happy going up there, and I think he has to show that happiness sometime very soon.
Now, Teleport being exhausted by Kiwi to hit to the top side, clear the wave out. It's a bit tricky here because if he gets poked out once more, he's going to get punished and will be forced to walk back into the lane.
Shinsekai is thinking in right here, he might be prepared to make a gank here, but there's so many engaged tools coming in. If he gets a good body slam, this could spell the end of TP's bot lane.
This is something we've seen Shinsekai do a lot, actually. He creeps into the bot wave and prepares to counter gank more than actually play the gank out. He did that in game 1, and this time in game 2, it's a bit difficult to execute the same thing against an Ezreal Yuumi. There's no way they're going to jump in, so Shinsekai has to back off here. Alright, now Kralix not really ahead in CS just yet, but he's surviving against a Renekton, which is more than you can hope for as the aggressor in this matchup.
Yeah, I think most champions right now will be subjected to a lot of dashing and chopping from this Renekton. So
you get full punish normally, but Kralix understanding this matchup pretty well. In fact, he's consistently shoving the wave up, and Shinsekai playing towards the top side means he neutralizes a lot of the pressure if Krex comes up. 2v2, I think they do take that fight and win it. Meanwhile, level 6 hit by Raven. He's using the Gatling gun to shove the wave out. Epistemology getting punished here and has to be zoned off the wave. But Tormented Soul with double Doran's ring means that it can clean the wave out. Remember, this is a Glacial Augment Morgana, which means it's utility. So a lot of focus on the Ezreal and the Renekton to bring the damage to these fights.
One issue with the Morgana and Corki, though, Corki always does have priority over this lane, which means they have full control of the river, which in turn means that they have a very easy dragon take.
Yeah, I like how the advantage translates to further advantage, because like you said, you know, having priority means that they can force things to happen. Meanwhile, coming in here, channeling the Predator boots, this might be the first gank of the game. But against the Ezreal, there's really slim pickings in the bot lane. Like we said, so many tools available for them to just disengage. And NYP, they try to hit bot lane, but they fail. Now pushing up once more, Kralix is gonna be attempting to take some turret plates.
Take a look at the bot side river though, you can see that Shinsekai is actually setting up quite a good vision wall there. I think he is actually looking to take that dragon that we talked about earlier, and he does not want TP to see him doing it.
It's an Inferno as well, so if they can sneak it, oh, excuse me, it's a Mountain. So if they can sneak it, you know, all the better for them. On a list of priorities, I think that's number 2, right? Inferno is always number 1, and then you have Mountain at number 2.
Well, I do like Edrix. What Edrix provide in this case is a lot of mobility across the map, but Mountain is, as you said, is one of the better ones just because of how much siege potential both teams can bring into the table.
Zyra hitting level 6 soon means that the all-in potential is pretty scary. Items completed on Ezra. Remember that he cheated the buy right there. So he used the teleport to come back into the lane with Tyr and Sheen, which is normally something you don't see all too much.
Take a look though, if you're NYP right now, you have your mid lane pushing up, you have your bot lane, you know,
why aren't they taking
sort
anything?
of pushing up. Why aren't they trying to go for that dragon? I think this is something that they could have looked for, and at this point they might just be a little too afraid to go for it.
Speaking of which, they're moving into the jungle here. They spot out Krex along the blue buff. Pings down. He's been forced away from this objective. He throws the Demacian standard in. Raven's coming to join this fight. He has the blue buff, and that means it's going to go the way of Shinsekai, who smites it under the nose of the TP jungler. Now heading to the top side. Taking stock of the items coming in. There's really no big buys just yet, apart from the fact that it appears Renekton is moving towards the Tiamat, whereas Kralix looks like he wants the Black Cleaver.
I mean, that's a good idea coming in from Renekton. If he's getting shoved under his tower as much as he is, a Tiamat allows him that wave clear that in turn allows him to, you know, push up that lane slightly further.
You also have to consider the amount of damage that the Tiamat items do, the Ravenous Hydra or the Titanic Hydra, especially on a team comp that does significantly lower damage than something that NYP can bring to the table with 3 carries off the bat. So that amount of damage might be crucial to turning a fight.
Jarvan here going for the Cinderhawk, whereas Shinsekai wants to has already completed the Runic Echoes.
See pings coming in the bottom side of the map though. We might actually see a bit of a collapse if this Ezreal oversteps way too far.
Yeah.
Yuumi!
Level 6 is done on Kreis. He's hit that power point where he can force these fights with the quickness.
However, However, you have to be very afraid, not afraid, you have to be very careful not to miss it, because Ezreal with that Arcane Shift, he can channel it while being charmed. It's always a high risk.
Right.
High risk. If you go all in, he might just disengage, and it's a reset.
Finally, we do see both teams centering around the Baron, though posturing very defensively here from NYP, but they do start it up.
Yeah, Dragon is the objective here. The Prowling Projectile is going to proc the Guardian on the Lurvus duo in the bot lane. Shinsekai resetting this Dragon out. Remember, he still has Predator Boots to activate if he wants to look for that fight.
I like to see that NYP is playing a little safer here, though. It shows that they have, tempered their aggression like we were talking about last game. And hopefully they continue this and don't allow their overconfidence to take hold of their
Yeah, but
play.
hesitation is starting to hurt them a little as we see Predator Boots being used by Shinsekai. He's looking like he wants to go into this fight. Bell Dance being used by Christ to leap forward and back. Just a bit of a warning sent out by NYP saying, you know what? You don't want to pick this fight, I'll Predator and scare you away. True Shot Barrage is going to chip Scarlet Peril down to very little, and this is the part where you have to be careful because the poke is, Feather Storm being used reflexively coming in from Scarlet Petal. He's being a bit careful of the damage, doesn't want to go down too early.
Yep, that's a defensive cooldown waster on the Xayah. At this point, being forced under your turret with the minions pushing, might actually have to use your TP to get back to lane.
Look at this, Krex is so quiet, he jumps into Cataclysm, it's a shout and a damage done. Here comes the final chapter off the back end, the package in from the Corki as well. Shinsekai has to be careful, uses the explosive cast to knock him away, and Krex will not find a kill. First blood goes the way of the Corki now. QE 1-3 has to be careful of the damage in. They activated the Dragon, and they'll have to back off as the poke comes in from the Ezreal. I don't think that neither team wants to stick around for this. A bit of an unexpected fight. I thought Krex had the upper hand, but the explosive cast, way too good.
The idea of the skirmish was good. The Xayah wasn't there, therefore he started that fight. But we do see another skirmish in the mid lane.
Bombs coming in from Raven, good deal of damage onto the Morgana.
Not much going to come out from that, but we do see a bit of an advantage coming from NYP taking first blood, even though the goal still is a little even right now.
Just to add on a bit to the previous points is that what TP has been doing so far with their Ezreal, with their Yuumi, they're doing a lot of poke damage coming in. It's something to take note of, but they don't really have that much DPS as of right now. They don't have their power spikes. They're still building those at Muramana, so it still needs some time to charge up. So even though it looks so good, they were just not hitting their power spikes yet.
So timing is crucial here. I think TP are looking for their window to come in. Meanwhile, Kiwi going for the Black Cleaver instead of the Tiamat, so it's an interesting adaptation. Kralik looking for the Death Dance instead. Once the healing, once the sustain on the top side. This lane that would normally be super aggressive for Renekton is pretty quiet in the top half.
But let me draw your attention to the bot side though. Remember earlier when NYP was setting up that vision wall in the bot side river to try to contest that dragon? Well, TP has the wards in there. Now I'm afraid the window for NYP to try and take that objective has pretty much closed.
So that means we won't be seeing too much action that they can pull off right now. They need to find those picks. They need to get the vision control of the map first before they can step in. Otherwise, we might have a repeat of the previous scenario, which looks surprisingly dangerous. And
True Shot Barrage not gonna land as the Grand Entrance was used by Christ to get away from the line of damage. Meanwhile, Scarlet Petal left alone in the bottom half. He doesn't have the teleport, so he's gonna have to sit here and just soak the damage. Bot lane is now in favor of the Yuumi Ezreal. They've hit their power spikes in terms of the Sheen as well as the Mana Immune. And the Lucidity Boots as well, jeez.
Take a look though, Shinsekai is going in the bot lane.
Yeah, going in, he is storming up the river using the Predator Boots. He gets stunned up by the final chapter, and there's no kill to be seen here. The quickness will knock them up, and just as I say that, he will find two members there. Great engaged by Christ to find the double kill for his AD carry.
that was a very smart play coming in, because Shinsekai understood that if he's going to throw the explosive cast, Ezreal's just going to Arcane Shift away. So instead, he waits for the right moment. The Rakan engage, the charm into the knockup, that's free, and then with that he can chain a CC, and now it looks like the teams are just going to trade objectives across the map.
And finally, we see some gold coming in for NYP's bot lane. Xayah now 2-0 and 0, that much closer to hitting the items.
Yeah, this side has to be a hit as we approach the mid game to go toe-to-toe with the Ezreal, who is slowly scaling up as well. Looks like he's going for the Iceborne Gauntlet next. Now both teams trading objectives here. The top side of the map belonging to TP, the Rift Herald going the way of Krex, whereas the Mountain Dragon will be claimed by Nanyang Polytechnic.
Here's the thing though, I don't actually like seeing Iron Nitrogen placed on this Ezreal, and now he's even forced to build defensively. This guy is known for putting out consistent damage in fights, and I'm afraid if he's forced into picking these sort of items, he's not going to have the same impact that he can have if he's placed on a higher agency carry.
So the ability to play, make plays and thread the mystic shots is still there for iNitrogen, which is something I still expect from him regardless of itemization. AD carry mechanics will probably be on point regardless of champion. I have to be careful here if you are the Yuumi getting caught by the Gleaming Quill, now using the zoomies to speed himself up and back off. DLE doesn't really want to stay around here. We'll finally get the evolve on the support item though, so now he gets access to the wards.
Right, you were talking earlier about the top lane matchup. Graves maybe so he is a counter to Renekton, but Kiwi123 has been going pretty even right now, so what I'm thinking right now is maybe it's not exactly a full counter. Maybe he is just designed to mitigate the amount of pressure that the Renekton can put out and just survive this laning phase.
But the thing is, if you were to go for a pick like that, it boggles the mind why he wouldn't play something like a Gnar or a Kennen, a ranged matchup that has the ability to sort of be more impactful in the fights. As I have to hold on to my point, here comes the Predator, here comes the fight. The quickness is available, they're not in range though. Immediate Arcane Shift out by the Ezreal to get to safety. iNitrogen doesn't want any part of this. Falling projectile being used. The Grave Flash in, an explosive cast will knock them back in, and that is a dead AD carry and support. No reason to walk up. A bit too greedy for the ward, and Tomasic Polytechnic. Hold on, the mid lane has to flash away. A Grid's on this Hourglass to knock Raven in place. The solo kill getting outplayed. Sit down, son.
We see action across the map, but I think if you're TP, what are you doing walking into that tri-bush when you see the Gragas there? You absolutely cannot do that.
This is something we might have seen from iNitrogen in the previous few games. He's just a bit too confident in his own abilities, and he just walks up. He believes he can do the Arcane Shift, but just that body slam into a flash, you are not able to react to that.
They pop the Rift Herald in the mid lane after getting the outplay from Epistemology, and now they will get a good deal of damage. No tower plates though, it's kind of sad, so they don't get any gold there.
Too late for that.
Christ coming to mid lane to reinforce this. Top side Kiwis now doing pretty well. Kralix coming with the flank teleport. It's a double, triple teleport. Jesus. Oh man, this is gonna suck for Kiwi.
He's dead, man.
There is little to no way he's getting out of this. A slice and dice to clear the wave out, and a rocket to the back is gonna find Kiwi123.
But is that really worth it, sacrificing 3 people for 1 Renekton who's already taken a tower? NYP is going to lose their mid lane tower, and this allows TP to contest that bot lane even better.
Yeah, you open up the map on the top half by getting the turret, and you find dying after that, because this means that your team gets purchased somewhere else.
But I do believe that the reason behind this TP is they want to set up that Scarlet Petal at the top lane. He wants to get the turret, they want to get a vision in. So Scarlet Petal there, we have Christ there as well, to set up vision, and now they are all around the top side of the map. They can contest it.
Oh, Arcane shifting forward, not necessarily the best idea. Here comes the final chapter from the Yuumi to keep them in place. Shinsekai looking for the explosive cast, a bit of a misplay coming in. He's going to pay for it with his life. Not particularly sure why he went in. Meanwhile, the bombs coming in from Raven is enough to get down to 80k. A great collateral damage off the back from Kralix to get the double kill.
But we really do have to question decision making from iNitrogen. Why is this man playing this forward when you're supposed to be playing a safe AD carry? I don't actually understand what he's trying to do here.
Arcane shifting for once or twice is fine. On the 3rd time, he finally gets caught out. Meanwhile, on the bot side, you can see on your mini-map, the Morgana is just pushing Epistemology, wanting to get some chip damage down the turret. Now remember, the main damage dealers for TP is the Renekton, is the Ezreal. The Morgana is just here for utility, and when your main, or 50% of your damage is playing like that, I have to question whether TP are in it to win it.
You definitely have to question that. I think iNitrogen here really has to step up if he wants his team to take this game. Regardless though, we do see that the gold is actually sort of still even despite the kills being quite a major discrepancy between them. But so I think TP right now is content just holding down and looking for a fight later on in the game.
NYP now, like you mentioned, 2k gold ahead. It's not monumental, but it is a good sign of things to come.
Back to your point about being content to farm up for the late game. If you have to think about it though.
Hold on, Ocean Dragon now being contested by TP. They're moving forward. Arcane shifting forward by iNitrogen might be a bad idea, so they're just going to give this one up over to NYP. And Nanyang Polytechnic now 2 dragons in the back pocket.
as I was saying before, as TP, do you really want to scale for the late game? Because NYP has so many carries, and it's not as if you have Prax as a full tank, but that's only one option. Most of the damage coming in from iNitrogen, from Kiwi, it's not going to be able to match up to what NYP can dish out. So playing for the late game is a bit risky.
Double 80 carries from NYP, and if you call Grace 80 carry, I guess you might. It's 3 in that case.
But here's the thing though, if you're TP right now, you do not have the damage. And when one of your main carries is having questionable arcane shifts, I don't think you want to go for a fight right now.
Walking down the mid lane, there is 3 members of NYP around here. You can see the flank coming from Christ. This is going to be disastrous if he lands it. A great explosive cast to clear the wave out. And now they're overstaying their welcome. Here comes Christ with the flank. Krex is going to stop this. A great knockup coming in, and a flank from NYP might just rip them all to shreds. Shinsekai having to back off, a lot of pressure down. iNitrogen in the right place at the right time. Here comes Raven off the side, finds the first, looking to play clean up, mop and bucket at the ready. Krex now getting taken down, and NYP, they still have 4. TP now backing off with only 3.
Very low health bars across the board for NYP though. TP might actually have this chance to push up the mid lane and contest the tower.
We can see the wave clear though is still pretty good from Scarlet Petal and Raven. Like, overall, they're not too worried about just sitting back and just making short work of the minions. Items coming in, Scarlet Petal is huge, 501. Infinity Edge instant buy after the Essence Reaver.
Yeah, I mean, if you have an Infinity Edge, you have an Essence Reaver and a Zeal, you're going to be doing so much damage as compared to an Iceborne Gauntlet and a Manamune.
You could see iNitrogen was thinking about it for a second there when the Prowling Projectile landed.
Don't do it,
He's
man.
still looking for it here. Arcane shifted forward.
No.
This is not the best idea. No, iNitrogen once more overstepping. I jinxed it, guys, and right now the Yuumi is next to fall as well.
Dude, stop it, please. Just stop it.
You're
Jesus.
tilting the casters. A double kill for NYP. The 80 carry gets it in. Right there, the second Prowling Projectile. iNitrogen thought he had it, didn't at all. This is Baron, boys.
There was no backup coming in, and this opens up Baron because Jarvan wasn't there, Morgana wasn't there, Renekton wasn't there. There's no one helping you out, and as soon as your opponent comes in, that's game for you. You're going to die and give over this Baron buff.
Baron goes the way of NYP, and they're looking to square up the score right now. Gold is 5,000 in their favor, Nanyang Polytechnic.
And for the next few minutes at least, this gold situation on TP is going to only get worse. I think at this point, you might actually have to start looking at the next game, because I don't think NYP is going to make any sort of mistakes with their overconfidence like last game.
NYP playing safe and solid, as you would put it. Overconfidence is the killer, right?
Yep. Funny thing is, though, I think we can attribute the arcane shifts from iNitrogen to overconfidence. Maybe
I see the irony. Yeah.
Maybe winning that first game was slightly detrimental to his mental.
NYP now running down mid with this Baron buff. Prowling Projectile, nor Dark Binding is going to find its target. Shinsekai is going to lead the charge and clear the vision around this area. They're looking towards the red buff, but in the jungle it's a bit of a tricky space to fight, considering there is Final Chapter and Cataclysm available. You have to deal with the mid wave first as the bot lane is pushing in. Scarlet Petal is tagging the minions up with the Baron buff. And Kralix is going to claim the turret as well.
Yep, TP absolutely did not want that fight. They had no vision and no idea how many people were in that jungle.
Two-shot barrage coming through is barely nicking anyone as a lot of damage is down onto the bot inhibitor turret. Oh, Shinsekai has to be very careful. He's not tanky at all. Remember, this is an AP Gragas. Meanwhile, the Trinity Force did a lot of work on the bot inhibitor turret.
The next wave of Baron minions is coming up, and after Ezreal's two-shot barrage has been used, there isn't much wave clear left. They have to be very careful of something.
Look at the map right now. In the mid lane, Corki is just shoving. So this is a 4-1, or rather 1-3-1 push coming in. Bot inhibitor turret is almost going to fall here, as it will eventually do so. Inhibitor is the next target. Predator Boots has been used by Shinsekai. What do they want here? Content just pushing the enemies away and letting Raven do his job in the mid lane.
Yep, at this point, if you're TP, you just have to hunker down and wait for this Baron to pass. Sort of like what we saw last game, NYP hunkering down. I think TP at this point just has to hold the line.
Kralix now with the Death Dance completed, just pushing on the top side. No fear whatsoever. Here comes the Flag and Drag. The Cataclysm on the Kralix. He's going to fall very low, but it's Cracks that goes down first. The root on the back is good. It's going to dissuade. Meanwhile, Epistemology with the Zhonya's Hourglass is probably going to fall next. Here comes the quickness. Here comes the knockup. Here comes Shinsekai as they look to clean up this game. The hero has fallen, and so will the support. 5 members strong of NYP still as the teleport comes in, and guys, we're going to 1-1 right now.
TP, you do not have damage. What are you doing looking for these engages? Way too overzealous, giving NYP that first win of the day.
This is an explosive game, and right now NYP have tied the score up. We didn't expect this to go one-sided either way. And I think NYP want to make a stake, or rather make a challenge to the stake of championship from TP right now.
Credit to where credit is due. NYP has done a very methodical game. As soon as they got that Baron buff, they managed to just push slowly. They won't overstep their bounds like, unfortunately, what TP has done. And this is what actually net them their win.
Right, so there was a pretty impressive game coming in from Nanyang Polytechnic. Are you still back on the NYP horse, or have you swapped sides now?
Well, if they take Iron Nitrogen off the Ezreal, I think it's a bit of a 50-50 at this point.
So maybe it's the advice you give the TP side not to draft the...
Give him the damn Ezreal, guys, come on.
Okay, with that, guys, we will be going for a short break. When we come back, we will have the final match of this best of 3. The winner will be claimed the Campus Legends champion and, well, have a bit of a bragging rights to their school as well. For now, guys, we're going for a short break. Be right back.